Okay, we are going to call to order the April 20th meeting of the PRCAC at 7:01 p.m. First item is approval of agenda. I know we had a couple amendments that we wanted to make. One was a now requested removal of night sky. And the other was the addition of the TBD discussion. So can I get a motion to approve the agenda with the amendments?
I'll give you a motion.
All in favor? Okay, so that is approved with those two amendments. Next is approval of the previous meeting minutes. Thank you so much, Brian.
The only amendment I would like to make to that, if I may, is the name.
Yes, I verified that with you. I sent it back to you.
Yes, is Lena Fair.
Oh, is it Lena Fair? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, is Lena? Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that change,
With that
Yeah,
change,
with that changes.
I request that we do approve the.
I'll second that. All in favor?
aye.
Okay. Next we have two items that are correspondence. One is in regards to the drainage master plan. And the other was in reference to the TBD discussion. So I'd like to just review those correspondence when we hit those agenda items.
That sounds perfect.
That's good.
From Maureen.
Oh, yes, and Maureen from WTA. So
That's fine.
that again, it falls under agenda items. So if you guys are all good with dealing with those correspondence when we actually hit those items. Awesome.
Yes.
Okay, so first we have the public comment, our first public comment. Does anyone have anything? For our first public comment, we do have a second one at the end.
I do.
Can you state your name for the record?
My name is Andy Lee,
Okay,
and I was hoping to start a conversation about naming this building the Henry Rosenthal Community Center.
so this building is owned, well, it's a county building owned by Point Roberts Parks Department. So that would actually be something that would be brought to the Point Roberts Parks Department.
I'll make note of that.
Bill, can you make note of that for
Yeah.
parks?
And I see that Bennett. Again, this is a comment in relation to your comment. I see Bennett's up there. And I think Bennett, didn't we have a conversation about this, and I just can't remember the ultimate outcome.
It was to do something other than name the building there, because the building is the original school building. It is the type of thing where if the park district were to ever give it up, it would have to go back to the school district. That was written into the original agreement when the building was turned over to the park district. And the other thing is, there were discussions about there are a lot of different discussions about that and what Henry would have wanted. And if you talk with Henry, he was not, he wasn't the type of person who he would rather have something go to the people support the food bank than to have a building named after him. He was the type of person who wanted things done rather than the accolades. So that's but there was some talk about maybe doing a like they did for the library for the garden area, outside there for what am I thinking of? For I forgot who it was. It was for I'm having a blanking out right now, but it's something, there was discussion about that already. And if people want to bring it up to the park board, that's up to them. That's their public comments for that, and the park board would have to make a decision on it.
That would
But
definitely be part.
I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
Bring it up.
Thanks, Bennett.
Thank you. Thanks, Bennett.
Anyone else for the first portion of the open session? Anyone online? Okay, seeing none, I am going to turn everything over here to Martha Ford with Would-Be Telecom to give us an update. Martha?
All righty, unmuted, sharing my screen, sounding okay,
Yeah.
looking okay?
You're good.
You're good.
Excellent, thank you so much. Thank you so much for allowing us to come visit you again. We figured it was a great time to do a quick update. We've made amazing progress in getting the fiber project going on Point Roberts. I shouldn't say going, we're well underway. So I'll jump right into the update. Of course, always want to call out your local team that's right there, is led by some of the finest humans I've ever worked with in my very long career. David, Leanne, and Tanya, as always, thank you so much for your support. And we've got representatives here from the headquarters team supporting us to answer any questions you might have. I only have 15 minutes, so off I go. All righty.
Oh, you can have as much time as you need, Martha.
As much time.
Oh, seriously?
Yes.
Yes.
I love talking about telecom so much.
And
All right.
information that you can give the community, the better.
That's right.
You got it. You got it. So I spent some time cutting out some Google Maps today so you guys could see where we currently have fiber service available. We have, obviously, the very first area we did a couple of years ago was the commercial area there at Tyee and Gulf. We've opened up an area up by the border at we're calling it the Roosevelt area. And then, of course, down at the Marina area, which is part of one of the grant areas. So far to date, just in 2023, we have put in the ground there in Point Roberts over 18 miles of fiber. So all of the major infrastructure is in place. Those are the folks you've been seeing working on the sides of the road, all the way from our offices down to the marina. And the Would-Be Telecom investment thus far in just 2023 has been over 1.7 million approximately. So this is no small investment. But we've been in Point Roberts for 35 years. We're here to stay. So we're really excited to be able to open up. These areas are available for fiber today. So onto the areas where we have received the 2 USDA grants for the underserved areas. USDA at the point of these grant applications considered anything under 25/3 as underserved. And so we had to identify areas that met that grant application. More recent grant applications have been a little bit different, but these 2 grants were for areas under 25/3. We didn't get to choose the areas. The areas were based on those speed tests. So Reconnect 2, that's that first area there on the left-hand side of your screen, the Edwards Drive area. That was the first area that we built out. I'll show you a more detailed map here in a moment. The majority of that project is complete. We will have the final part of that construction done by the end of this spring. And as our construction lead, Barrett, was always telling me, could you please knock wood? Every time you say that, we end up having some sort of huge storm roll through. So knock wood, everybody. By the end of this spring, we should have the rest of Edwards Drive finished. That was just under $600,000 of USDA money. We're required to match that with at least 25%. Trust me, it's been more than 25%. And the residential fiber installation outreach is happening now. We'll convert current customers first. Those folks that have traditionally, we've been unable to reach with our legacy copper plant. They'll be our first fiber installs there in that grant area. In the USDA Community Connect $1 million grant area, that is the west side of the point there, we are, as soon as we finish, obviously the first Edwards Drive part, we will turn the corner and start working our way up north. We're ready to do the heavy lifting there. It's obviously a much larger area, but the main line that we used for Tyee and Gulf are already in place. So that really helps us expedite some of the fiber work that we'll be doing in that area. So we anticipate that we'll be able to complete that construction. Again, sorry, Barrett, knock wood. We should be able to complete that construction by the end of this summer. So very excited to be able to get that area completed and have that grant wrapped up, and hopefully be able to work on the next pieces that we're working on. Little bit more of the technical drawing here that our engineers helped put together so I could do this update today. This is just 2023 construction update. So the areas that are highlighted in blue, those are a couple of the ones that I just talked about of where we have completely completed construction. And I got to give huge shout outs to your local team and to the contractor that we have working up there, digging the really heavy equipment pieces of this. It's an amazing amount of fiber that they've put in the ground, and they've just been working like crazy to get it done. So the blue areas are complete. We are doing fiber work installations there at this time. The ones that are in green are in progress. Like I said, knock wood, those will be done by the end of this spring. And then work that is started and expected to be completed by the end of this summer is that other grant area working its way up the west side of the point there. So exciting work for us. Really very, very proud of the work that the team has done up there. And the customers that are live on fiber, I got to tell you, we get folks talking about it all the time. They really are very happy. So a little bit of behind the scenes. It's not just the work that we're doing in the ground and in homes. This is a little bit of a peek behind the scene. This is a lot of equipment that we've been putting into Point Roberts at no small cost, that's for sure. And what's been really great is that because we've been in business as long as we've been in business and been doing this, we've got fantastic relationships with our suppliers. And during all of the supply chain debacle over the last 2 years, and everybody in the country got their grant money and needed to buy exactly the same equipment from exactly the same suppliers. We've got great relationships. We've had relationships with our suppliers for years, decades. And so we've been really able to mitigate some of the supply chain issues that a lot of other companies are seeing. We have to follow very strict Utilities Commission and FCC guidelines, in addition to the granting authorities that have using our tax dollars to fund this work in Point Roberts, for physical security, cybersecurity, customers' privacy, and most of these grants have a Buy America program built into them. So we have to work with suppliers that can get this communications equipment that's been built here in the US. So that's been a really tough path for most telecommunications companies here in the United States. The requirements have been quite stringent, and we all have to go to the same suppliers. So those longstanding relationships have really helped us. And this is your local crew there in Point Roberts. They are just top-notch. We've done tons of training, and this will be the first moment I get to say, have I mentioned yet that we're hiring? So if you know anybody looking, we're hiring. So one of the parts of one of those USDA grants, the Community Connect grant, a part of that is we had to commit to putting together a community center. And we have a really nice relationship with Parks and Rec. And Bennett, thank you so much for your assistance here. We put our plan in front of their committee today, as a matter of fact. And so I'm sure there'll be a little back and forth on some of that ideas here, some suggestions there, adjusting the plan as we go forward. But again, knock wood, this summer, we should have the community center up and running with the appropriate permissions down in the Lighthouse Park. It'll be a modular trailer. There'll be at least 2 computer workstations in there, fiber access, of course, provided by Woodby Telecom with Wi-Fi capabilities, both inside for use by the folks using the facilities inside the trailer. And then also we will create a public hotspot right there in Marine Park. And I got to tell you, our public hotspots and the public Wi-Fi that we have was a lifesaver during the pandemic. And we find that it really helps for events that we do here in South Whidbey. So we're really looking forward to working with parks and the local organizations up there to make sure we've got, you know, good things in place for those public Wi-Fi hotspots. The picture there of the inside of a trailer is a design approximation. Our friends at Hood Canal Communications have done exactly this down there on Hood Canal. And this is what theirs looked like. And we're like, ooh, we like that, the way you guys have things laid out. Let's take some pictures and we'll use that as kind of our inspiration. I can't tell you it's going to look exactly like that. It probably won't, but it'll be something like that. And then the approximation of where we've suggested to put it and where the power supply for it, et cetera, is going to be. So we just wait final approval and we'll get it up and running as soon as we can. So very excited. Fiber's there, or as close as it can be until we get the trailer in place. So we'll be ready to pull the rest of it as, like I said earlier, we turn the corner and start heading north. So just a little bit of a recap, because we get the question all the time of, you know, why can't we just go pole to pole and hurry this up and get it done? You know, we bury all of our facilities, and in our experience, and we've been in this business a really long time, our experience in these marine environments and in heavily forested areas like Point Roberts and South Whidbey, you know, our customers don't want to see the cables. You know, saggy cables hanging from lines don't make us happy. Also, high winds, heavy rain, and earthquakes. Not a good thing for poles. If a tree or branch falls down and takes down an aerial line, it's an expensive repair. And down in the corner, I have a little picture of, here in South Whidbey, just the day before yesterday, I think, a county mower took out all of the aerial to South Whidbey. One poor 22-year-old kid on a mower took out all cell service and all aerial internet service to South Whidbey. Now you wonder, how did he get a mower that high up? Well, chasing blackberries. So that in front of you is 6 bucket trucks to make that repair. Those crews worked so hard and did such a great job and got it all back up and running. That's more than $1 million worth of equipment and manpower right there on that street for one mower. So that's why we bury. And we're really proud of how reliable our network is. So that's my answer. And like I said, I love to talk about telecommunications. When people ask, why does it take so long and why do you insist on burying and everything? That's why. It works for us, and we're really proud of the work that our crews do. Again, why is it multi-year and multi-phase? Well, I've always loved this. I was visiting Boston once and I saw this sign for their big dig when they were redoing all their highway systems. If Rome was built in a day, we would have hired their contractor. It takes a lot of planning. It takes a lot of permitting. It takes mainline construction. It takes fiberhood construction. It requires fiber splicing. We had to train all of those guys working in that back room. We had to train every single one of them how to do fiber splicing. They're copper guys, but we retrained them to be fiber guys, and they're doing a great job. And we're hiring more. Did I mention that we're hiring? We're hiring and we train and we train and we stay current in all the current capabilities. So it's not inexpensive. It takes time. We appreciate the patience that our customer base shows us, but we're making great progress. And like we said, we've got 18 miles of fiber in the ground up there. We've got customers up and running on fiber up there. We are so excited to bring more people on board this summer. And that is my last official slide. So, yeah, I've got my team here to answer questions. We've got our customer service folks, happy to talk about the progress that we're making. And, I can't, obviously, we take our customers' privacy very seriously. I can't answer specific questions about, any particular service address, but I'm happy to stay on the phone with you guys for a little longer. So did I answer what you guys were looking forward to hearing in terms of an update?
Well, I'm gonna start with the committee. Bill?
I'm good. I just want to make sure that I saw during the conversation, there was some.
Yeah, I'll get
You
into,
get the
Yeah.
chat stuff, but yeah, I'm good. I'm fine. I'm good. How are you, Mr. Fiber Optic?
he's like, I'm an applet for cash.
Yeah, that's exactly. He's hot operator.
I should just say, thanks, Martha, for the update.
Thank you.
Great to see the progress. I had a couple of questions, just follow up from what you showed. One is, do you have any stats to share on the uptake? Like, how can we get people or more people up and running on this?
That would be considered customer data, and I'm not, I'm not at liberty to share those kinds of numbers because, again, for customer privacy, I can tell you in anywhere that we have live fiber today, we have customers up and running. All of the I don't think they'd mind me saying because we've had the business corridor up and running for a couple of years, the businesses that use our service in that area are beyond pleased for their security of their point of sale systems, et cetera. What we can do to do more. There are two things that limit us here. One, manpower, person power, I should say. We're hiring. And all of you folks know how hard it is to hire people on the point, to get tradespeople up and running who want to work on the point. It's a tough market. It's a very tough market. We're all experiencing it. So that's our biggest challenge is if I had more installers, if I had more trained fiber splicers, this would go faster.
Okay, great. The other question I had, which I think also I saw one of the comments come in, was I'm sure the rest of the people who are not in the areas covered are wanting to know when can they expect anything rolling their way.
A couple of different factors that impact that. First and foremost, money. We are hopeful that with the new pieces of the infrastructure bill that are coming out, and we're working really closely with Whatcom County and the Port of Bellingham and Washington State University broadband office and the state broadband office. These big consortiums that are building up around counties and the broadband action teams, we're working very closely with them to, as industry leaders, working with our peer companies to try and get more grant money coming in so we can then accelerate build out and improve the services. One of the outflows that you may not be aware of is because our infrastructure is now fiber-based, it actually helps our copper network also. So we've been able to make improvements to our DSL speeds, and we're doing outreach to customers where we see, hey, you're at a service level that, you can get a better service level. And, it's just a matter of getting hold of customers and getting customers to, return phone calls. It's like, we can help you. If you call us back, we can, do something for your upgrade. So in terms of outreach, that's, we're making customer contacts every day, and where we can improve the service, we're making those. So in terms of the other areas, specifically back to your question, I don't have a construction forecast in front of me for 2024 and 2025 yet. When we know where the grant money is going to go and where the state and the counties are going to come in with other funding opportunities, there are lots of loan programs happening in addition to grant programs. And then there, USDA has programs, FCC has programs, the Department of Commerce has programs. There's just a lot of things going on right now, from use of our taxpayer money to support these programs. So we know that there are more announcements coming out. We're hearing the broadband office say first couple of weeks of May, we should be hearing answers on this next round of funding to see if, who's going to get money and where the money's going to go. So we can't really put together construction plans beyond what we already have planned through the end of this summer until we get some of the answers from the state and feds. And then once we have those answers, we can move forward with, then we go to our banks and
Yes,
start
I do.
for loans.
Well,
and
no, I just got
more
it on my,
funding. So, oops, there we go. So I hope that answered your question. We will have more news on next phases of construction by the end of this summer. So we'll come back and do another update, I promise.
Thank you. I'm sure others have questions.
Okay, so I'm gonna, in the chat, we had, so similar question to what you had, Marty, who's on the east end of APA, so APA Boundary Bay area. I'm asking if there is a plan to get better service in that area, that they're currently at a 23.
Mhm.
So, they're not at the 25.3, they're at the 23, but that you're saying it would be the future.
Yes, absolutely.
Somebody, Sparrow, can you please advise what available for fiber today means there in the Roosevelt area, which you show as blue available for fiber? What does that exactly mean, fiber today? Does that mean they can call in and get fiber, or?
We're doing outreach to the customers that we're ready to do installations for.
So they just wait for your phone call?
Mhm. Yep, if they are currently a customer, wait for our phone call. We're doing that outreach. Sales and customer service will be in touch with you and let you know when we're ready to do, because it may be done to your street. Now we need to bring it from the street to your house. And so we have to sign a permission to install. So we need somebody to, sign the paperwork electronically, of course. And then in addition to that, we have to, make sure somebody's home when we come into the house to do the install and all that coordination. So we're reaching out to each customer by customer, getting them on a schedule. So we're not over promising, we're getting things scheduled. And based on, the number of employees we have up there now that can do installs. And we're also sending crews up from South Whidbey to do installs when we have a block of them that we can get in, get done, and get them back down here doing installs too. We even, we rented a house up there in Port Roberts for our crews to come stay at. So we can really get the folks up there up and running as quickly as possible.
This is Sparrow. Can I ask a clarifying question on top of that?
Sure.
Number one, thank you. Appreciate that you're doing this. So if you're not a current customer, I've been on the wish list for a couple of years, both for the combined copper and obviously for fiber. Do you have a pecking order for when you'll get to people who are not current customers?
Sure. If you go onto our website and a search for your address, a form will pop up that says, fill me out. And if you fill out that form, then I know who's interested in that next neighborhood. And after we talk to customers, and we've gotten as many customers answering our voicemails and emails and letters, then we work down to that next list.
Excellent. And one final clarifying, if we're in that special blue zone, but we know that the trucks stopped, 300 feet from where our house is there someone we contact to say, hey, could you come in just a little bit further?
You're just down a little bit further.
I'm in the blue zone. I know I'm in the blue zone.
I
Yeah.
can see it from here. Yeah. Fill out the form. And the moment we can do your install, we will call you. I promise.
Thank you.
And I don't, Barrett's a great guy, but I don't think you could even, slip him a little, poutine or something to
Done and done. Thanks so much.
So, yeah, probably some Tim Hortons.
Martha, can you
Next one, I
address?
have 1 minute, Elizabeth. I'm finishing with these.
Thanks, Ally.
So, my last one on the chat that I'm doing, Barbara Armstrong asked, do you have a general master plan for overall installation, for example, various zones in Point Roberts, like South Beach or Maple Beach? So, I think it's, kind of that map that you had, last year that's like, here's what we're working on now, and then it would be. Do you maybe have that you could send to me that we could post on Nextdoor and send out on Pause and Point Interface so that people can kind of get an idea?
So the next stage map is dependent on if we win grants, areas we win grants for. If we don't win grants in those areas where the bank is willing to lend us more money, or whichever organization is willing to help us do some of this funding and get this infrastructure in place, and also where our board of directors decides, what Woodby Telecom is going to make the investment in we can afford to do this next year. That kind of, it's normal construction planning and budgeting. I can tell you that every single part of Point Roberts we have on a plan, and we call them fiberhood plans. So we take an area, and where it logically makes sense for the main line to come in and all the streets and residences and businesses that come off of that main line, we already have the plan to do the entire point. Now it's, where do we come up with the funding, and which piece can go next, depending on each one of the funding organizations. If the organization comes back and said, like these 2 grants that we already won, you only can use this money for anybody that's below 25/3. Then that would drive where we would go next. If they came back and said, because a couple of the grants that we've looked at lately, those granting programs were, this is for anybody that's under 100. Oh, that's the point. We could do the whole point if we got that. So
would you be able to, the map that you did show, with the yellow, the green, the blue, could you send that to me? Because a few people said that they couldn't quite see it, and then I'll post that so people can get a better idea. Elizabeth, you had a question?
Yes, thank you. I put it in the chat. Martha, hi. Can you address costs to homeowners for fiber installation in their homes?
Sure. For these areas, in the grant areas, installation, we wrote that into the grant. So there is no installation cost to the homeowner. The cost to bring the drop from the street to your home and all of the change out of the consumer equipment, the optical network terminal that replaces your current modem, that's all. We included that cost into the grant program. So there is no additional cost if you're in that grant area. And so those areas where I can do installations, down by Marine Drive today, and then up the west side coming this summer, no cost to the homeowner. Fiber, right now, if you go out to our website, you'll see Point Roberts fiber price for synchronous, 100 down, 100 up. Oh, crud. Is it 70 a month, I think? Oh, geez. I just updated the website the other day. You'd think I'd be able to remember this. While we're talking, I'm going to go check. Or hold up, I just heard my phone beep. I bet it's Leanne telling me how much it is.
90 prices.
Let's see. Leanne's, I can see her little dots. She's telling me. Come on. She's the smart one of all of us. Come on, Leanne. Her dots have stopped. I think it's $70, but I will confirm that within the next couple of minutes. I'll come right back to that, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Hey,
Jessica says it's 70. Jessica's in charge of the salespeople, and she just gave me the thumbs up that it's 70. Thank you, Jessica. It takes a village.
Does anyone else online? You can raise your hand or just unmute yourself quickly to let me know. Surprise, see none.
Yay. All right, well, we will come back this summer and give you guys another update. On our website, there's a place to keep in touch. If you enter in your address, we will be in touch with you. And you're, of course, always welcome to call or stop by and see Tanya there in the office. 1122 is the customer service line. And then, of course, tech support's there 24/7, day in and day out. Those folks are champs.
Thank you so much, Martha. Yeah, if you can just email me a copy of that map.
Happy
showing
to.
Different areas, and then I will put that out on Point Interface Pause and next door, so everybody can, blow it up and get a better look to see, the areas.
Good
Yep.
job.
And as you're going by every day on your way to the grocery store, stop and say hi to the crews. Are thrilled that it's spring.
Thank you,
Thank you
everybody.
so much.
Martha.
Happy this summer.
Martha.
Okay, so our next item is the drainage master plan. Off to you, Brian.
Off to me. Tetra Tech is the consultant that the county has chosen. I've worked personally with Tetra Tech before. They're certainly a very competent national, maybe even international engineering and firm. So I don't have any concerns with that off the top. A project charter was developed by the county that documented all the needs and purpose and all of that. It was not reviewed by this group, but it's been done. The contract hasn't been signed yet, and neither has it been fully scoped. So according to the county, we will be included. We're going to be asked to review and comment on the draft scope when it's available. As of now, it isn't. They're hoping to get it to us shortly because they've told us originally it would be by hopefully by May, but they're not planning on signing the contract at this point, the back and forth and all that till June. The study is expected to last 18 months. From June to December of 2024. There are two phases. There'll be an initial evaluation, and then there'll be a drainage master plan that comes out of that. We'll be asked for the county to review the deliverables for these phases. And they have promised us to date, multiple public outreach meetings will occur for both the general public and ourselves, so that we can get that kind of involvement. That's pretty much the update on it right now. It's going along, and I'm quite happy about that for sure.
Did you started reading the draft that they sent of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
scope and everything,
Yeah.
so that you can start familiarizing yourself, so that when we hit that meeting,
Yes.
you're my drainage master guy, so.
Well, yeah, my background does speak directly to this, so. Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot more until they send us some more information. Right now, we can do the background that exists, as I pointed out to them when they asked about, well, can you provide us with anything? And I said, that's why we're asking for this, really.
Right.
Is
We
because
need
there
to see
isn't
that.
much here when it comes to drainage master plan.
But he did send you quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah,
So-
I'm not
Yeah.
speaking poorly of the county. I'm really glad the gentleman we have now is Eric Labray,
Mhm.
and seems to be wide awake to our interest in the project. So we'll go forward from here.
Yeah, it seems like he really wants to make sure that we're 100% included, not just the PRCAC, but the community as a whole.
Right.
So next, unfilled at-large committee positions. We have not received any more applications. So at this point, I think we need to schedule our community meeting for a meet the candidate, shall we kind of quote unquote, call it? So that those who have applied, can answer questions from the community and, we can do our unofficial, kind of voting for community input to see who the community would like to see fill those positions.
Sure.
As long as everybody understands the final decision lies with the executive and county council.
These are my blesses.
So I would like to get that put on, our calendar. Does anybody have any good days, bad days I think we should do it. I'd like to do it on like a Sunday afternoon or morning, just so that we can maybe get more people involved. Or do you guys still want to just do it like we've always done it on a Thursday night?
I agree with you. I think do you want to jump ahead to about one of the things that we oftentimes hear is people don't know about something or they're not able to make it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a really good idea on your part.
Is the executive still planning on coming out?
So-
At the same time, I think.
Yeah.
The executive most likely, I know he's planning on coming for but that's not until June, the anniversary for Lighthouse Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not till June then.
Yeah, I think we should, do this before then, because there's a lot of work and, our next meeting is the 18th
Of May.
of May. We have a septic class on the 20th of May. This sounds funny, but I would actually like to do it on the 21st of May, Sunday, the 21st, if we can get space.
Where would you
Is
want
that
to-
Mother's Day?
No, I'm just wondering.
No, Mother's Day,
No.
Mother's Day is 14th.
The 14th, where did you want to do it?
I wanted to do it here. The reason I said the 21st is I think we can reach out to a lot of people. We have 100 people coming for the septic class on the Saturday, so it's also a good way to remind people.
Yeah.
On the septic class, and
Yeah,
I think, if everybody's good, if we can do the 21st. Say like 2:00 in the afternoon, not too early, not too late.
yeah,
Okay,
and it'll be nicer weather.
yeah. So I'm just gonna write that down, May 21st. So that is gonna be tentative, because I will need to verify with the park department.
You want me to,
Can you do that for me, please?
May 21st?
Does it require a motion from us? or-
Yeah, I'll make a motion that,
That is, just to let you know, that is the date that Henry's.
oh, that's Henry's celebration of life. Never mind.
And every chair in the community center is going up to the fire hall that day.
Okay, never mind. I wouldn't do it on Henry's Day anyway.
No,
Okay, so how about we say May 28th?
May 28th.
Because the next weekend is the long weekend.
Oh, that's a long weekend. Geez, Murphy. How about May 14th?
That's Mother's Day.
That's Mother's Day.
Why don't you do it on, night? Can we do it during the week? Do you think you'd get more participation, especially coming up in May? People might be disappearing over the weekends. If it actually gets nice, the sun will come out.
Well, I was just thinking that,
It'll be above 51 degrees.
It's-
So,
18th.
yeah, the 18th,
the 18th is our regular meeting.
Yeah.
yeah. So would you maybe want to do it during the week? Because like I said, when the weekends start getting nice,
Well, what we can do is, how about we say, we do it Thursday, the 25th.
right,
If we find that we don't get a great turnout, we'll do a second one.
we'll do a second one, just like we did with
We have to do this
septic.
before. Yes.
The septic, which is, just name everything septic now, because people come to the meetings, you can always fool them.
Okay, so tentatively, May 25th, 7 PM.
Yeah,
Okay, motion to have at least one on May 25th, 7 PM. Based on the fact that, we can get the community.
Yeah. I'll send an email tonight.
Can I get a second?
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next is regular meeting with the county. I'm still waiting to hear back from Jed and St. Paul since our meeting had to be canceled because Jed was out of town and St. Paul was in Olympia. So he needs to reschedule and I'm waiting for an email for that new schedule. Suzanne, who we all love in St. Paul's office, is retiring.
Oh, she
And
is?
yes, and she's training her replacement right now, who's taking over, so I think things are a little, you know, a little cray
Yeah,
cray.
Suzanne's been there.
Yeah, so she's retiring. I'm gonna miss her. She's amazing.
She's a good.
So I will follow up with that again.
Okay.
Next is our OSS training. Our first one was amazing. We were full.
Perfect.
100 people. James Hayes, from Whatcom County Health Department, you know, did a great job.
Waited for questions, stayed for questions.
He stayed for questions,
Everybody.
as long as, you know, the fact that it's his day off.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he works Monday and Friday and he came up on his day off to do that. And I want to thank, you know, Bennett, our former Parks Board member who set everything up for me the night before. Got the stage ready, got the chairs ready, and that was great. The second class is, like I said, May 20th. We are full again at 100 people. James did say that with the amount of people that showed up, the amount of people who signed up, he's actually looking to try and get us a third class.
Oh, okay.
Amazing thing to know is normally their septic classes, they max them out at 50 people.
Yeah.
And he says they're in Bellingham and they normally aren't full.
Yeah.
He was shocked and amazed that we had 100, because the first one we actually had 110 people sign up because they didn't realize it was going to fill up within 4 days. That 100 people showed.
And they did, they showed up.
Yeah, he said normally people will sign up and they don't show.
Yeah.
You know,
It
it
was a
was
full
really good. So, for all those people who've been putting on next door, who've been texting me or emailing me, yes, we are trying to get a third class. And if we do, we will get that posted, for everyone. Next is public transportation, which is PRCAC.
Yeah, I did send a summary of the survey
Do
results.
you want to review that for everybody?
Yeah, just to review quickly, I think last meeting I summarized the in-progress survey at that time. And the survey, I closed it a week after that meeting. So the final results were a total of 193 responses, both online and in person. Most of them were online. About half, 49.2% of the respondents indicated they would use a transportation service between Point Roberts and the mainland at least once a month. And 25% indicated they would use the service at least once a week. Over 80% indicated they would like the service to go all the way to Bellingham with stops along the way. Plain, Ferndale, Bellingham Airport, and so on. And also, over 72% indicated fixed timings would be okay as long as there was enough time for people to get their chores done. So between kind of the outbound from Point Roberts
To the end, yeah.
and
From the-
significant enough gap, few hours, several hours before the return. And then 62%, 62.7% indicated they would be willing to pay at least $5 for such a service. And that was the maximum amount we had listed as a choice. So I suspect if it was even higher, some fraction would have said yes to that. So those were the key points. I provided a summary to Maureen McCarthy, who's at the WTA, to Jed. And at that time, I think the executive was still supposed to come out here, so I copied him just so he was aware of the survey in case that came up. Maureen's response was, thanks for the survey and your offer of assistance. Our next step is to pull together some information, including history. We've provided several variations of service to Point Roberts over the years. ridership data and special considerations for cross-border public transportation. Our team will review that along with your survey results and generate some ideas. We'll reach out again once we have ideas to share. That was on April the 6th. I plan to check back in next week and see how it's going.
Good,
Sounds good to me.
good, good.
And I think it's important that, you know, we do continue to follow up with them because we do pay
Yeah,
into, you know, through sales tax.
yeah,
And like the executive said, you know, if for some reason this service isn't going to be
right.
extended to Point Roberts, then we will need to look into no longer being part of their taxing district.
Which was the direction it seemed to be going prior to the survey.
Yeah,
Both Jed and Maureen had indicated that
Yeah,
they didn't think the service was feasible, so they were like, let's look at
right.
exempting Point Roberts from the tax. But it looks like after the survey, at least there's an openness to consider this.
Right.
what mechanism did you use for the survey?
Survey monkey.
Survey Monkey,
Yes,
and it's, you're happy with it?
it's not a free service,
It's not,
no,
okay,
but yes, it did the job.
it did a good job and.
Yeah, but it's not a free service.
Okay,
It's not extremely expensive.
right, but
Yeah, well,
my thing is if you spend money, did you get what you wanted? And was it a good mechanism to use?
well, if we plan to do a lot of those, then we may want to look at an official subscription of some kind.
Yeah, we have to have the county
Yeah.
pay for a
Count for it,
subscription.
right?
Yeah,
That's really.
because it's not super expensive, it's also not super cheap, like you would think for a one-time survey, there will be some reasonable price. Yeah, so if we feel like we need to do more surveys, then we should take this up with.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
good. That's a good answer. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So next we have under new business was the TBD discussion. From a letter we received from Mark Robbins the day after our last meeting. Do you have that?
Yes,
Thank you.
I do. I'd be delighted. The, just to give a little background, the committee here has been interested in using the transportation benefit district funds that are collected here on the point for projects. We were told by the county that they can only be used for maintenance. They could be used, not be used for any kind of planning or design or anything like that for roadways. Previously to the existing order at the county executive and the county council, it had been determined that with a change to the revised code of Washington, that we may be able to change that kind of a consciousness. The response we received from the county executive and the county council was, oh no, you're going to need to amend the state constitution. We don't believe that's the case, and we're going to rely on the previous decision-making by previous executives and county council.
The county attorney actually corrected that in an email to Sat Paul that was part of the chain. It was just that it wasn't an amendment to the
That's
constitution.
cool.
It is just.
Oh,
an
okay,
amendment to
you
the
guys are,
RCW.
you guys are headed, good reading.
Yeah.
So, okay, I was tasked with redoing the letter that we had done, as well as tying it into the revised code of Washington, the state, and with this latest correspondence, it reminded me that what we want to do is it's necessary that we need to know what we want to do. So, however, we're going to just propose, revise the code, I think is a little too nebulous. And I suggest that I'll come back with this group's approval, of course. I'll take a shot at amending it the way that I think, understand that we want it done. So that we're not just saying, okay, go amend this, and then counting on either county personnel or state personnel to do this to our benefit. I think it's best if we do it ourselves and provide them then with the model. So I just, that's where I'm at in this, and I just wanted to get this group's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with
Yeah.
you because it's, you know, a little bit of clarity in the sense of. Normally, when you talk about, road construction, whether it be building or renovation or anything. Engineering and design are the first part of that.
Yeah.
So because the way the RCW is written, it's not very clear. And it doesn't actually call out like specifics. So I think that's where our issue is that we want it to say it's for X, Y, Z, not just road maintenance and, right?
Correct.
It's so, just so that it's, you know,
Yeah,
clear,
Yeah,
it covers those items.
okay, I will do that then and bring it back to this group in May, and we can, you know, more fulsome discussion.
I totally agree.
There it is.
Just one point I would like to bring up, and I don't know what the correct answer is. So it's TBD, Transportation Benefits District, right? Does that include only road transportation, or can it include other forms of transportation?
That, right now, it's my understanding that it does just speak to the road, that's part of, I think, looking at the ordinance as it exists, and having that discussion with this group in a public, you know, setting.
Okay.
Because I've heard, you know, people have said, well, let's use it for a ferry, let's use it for, you know, different things.
Yeah, I think we should, if we're going to revise it, I'd rather we revise it in a way where we have options if there were other infrastructure improvements we wanted to make at some point.
Right.
Other
Well, we
than,
can, you know, we can write it. However, at Point Roberts, I mean, it's, you know, we can,
Mhm.
they're very plastic. I've written plenty of them, and you can do them on your.
Yeah.
So,
Well, because you can look at it in certain parts of the ferry systems, like the Lummi Ferry isn't, but the ferries in like Edmonds and such are actually considered part of the highway system,
yeah,
Correct.
right.
right? The Lummi Ferry is not considered part of the highway system. But, and that's why when somebody mentioned, oh, TBD ferry, well, the ferry's not part of the highway system and we're not actually a highway. So,
Yeah, it's a standalone.
but, you know.
Yeah,
could be
adding-
ferry, it could be other, like,
Yeah.
infrastructure. It's
Yeah.
Not just a sort of. not
Right.
single-
So we'll define.
We will.
it does have to do though with like. Transportation benefit district, because the funding comes from gas tax for use of roadways. To improve, build and maintain those roadways.
Sounds like.
So you can do it to expand a roadway, you can do it to like add a bike lane. You know, different things like that, but it does, and that's where you get into a ferry, it has to be part of the road system to be considered part of that fuel tax. So you couldn't use it to, you know, build a building. It is specifically for roads from the gas tax, like, so there is going to be some limitations so that you can't even
Okay,
build a
well,
building.
I guess my point is, we're gonna revise it, let's take a deep look.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
could be allowed, what
Yeah.
could be
Well, yeah,
under the purview.
all they can say is no, which they've already done this, so.
Well, they did say yes at one point, county council did,
Right,
and it
right,
went to
right.
the state, and then the state said no. So, but
Yeah.
now we can work with our
Yeah.
local representatives in the state to push it forward, so. Okay, so now we have further public comments. I'm gonna first go to the room. Anybody? Okay, and then I'm gonna go to the chat. Marty, do you have a question? Is Marty still here? Did Marty leave? Yeah. Oh, Marty's here. Do you want me to read your question, Marty, or do you want to ask your question? I'll read it. Does the PRCAC have any insight on the status of the money that Bob Hillman's waiting for to build out his wireless internet for the whole of Point Roberts? Bob, you're here. Do you want to answer that question?
Sure. Officially, the Washington State Broadband Office says April 2023. So we're waiting on the announcement, which was kind of coded by your earlier guest. But that's really the turning point for who will build out Point Roberts. So that that announcement by Washington State Broadband Office will be a big one. It involves a grant of $3.5 million to finish the project here in Point Roberts. So that's all I can say officially.
So any day now.
Any day now, we've got 10 days left.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. I'll call you, believe me.
I'm sure you'll be emailing us right away, Bob. Knocking on the wood over here. Okay, next question was, can we have the sheriff attend the PRCAC to address various questions on our social media sites, especially traffic speeders, driving through stop signs, protocol for hitting deer and squatters, and B&E? I can make a note, and Brian, if you can make a note, we can, for the next agenda, I will reach out to the sheriff's department and see if we can get someone to come for our next meeting. Okay. Does anyone online have any questions, concerns, or again, anything that you would like to see on our agenda? Bennett?
Just quick reminders, May 21st is the celebration of life for Henry, and that's going to be at the fire hall. I guess I talked with Roger this morning. I guess he's had a meeting with some of the people organizing it and the family, and he's doing the food for that. But so keep that in mind. I'm glad I caught you earlier when you were planning the your date for your meeting. And also I'm in the process of working with the Historical Society and the Whatcom County Parks for the 50th anniversary of Lighthouse Park. There will be a celebration on June 17th for that, and it'll be at Lighthouse Park. And I hope to have some special guests there. I'm trying to get all the rangers who, park rangers who have lived at the park itself from the beginning through Ben Van Buskirk. So there were 3 of them, and that would cover about 35 years of the park history right there. And a couple of, well, we'll see. I know Ben is interested in coming back up here, and a lot of people know him who have been here for years, but hopefully we'll have a nice little celebration up there, and there'll be more information coming out to the community in the near future.
There's nothing else.
Thank you, Bennett.
Good.
Anyone else?
So it's over. You do it, carry on.
No one else has anything for this evening?
We covered everything in
That
chat.
was a quick meeting. We did that in an hour.
Hallie, we got everything in chat.
I got everything in chat, the family, the sheriff. Microphone, yep. Yep. I had it all.
Okay, good.
Go ahead. You know.
Okay, so now anything from the board that you would like to see added to our next agenda, discussions, anything that anyone has come to you with for our next meeting?
Nothing beyond what we spoke to. today.
That's it, yeah,
Nothing to take, okay.
yeah.
Well, with that, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn.
That's a second, you second that today.
May I second that?
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjourn. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and we will see you in a month.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.